Executed in 2016, the trip comes from a body of works in which Adrian Ghenie would depict one of his great heroes, the artist Pablo Picasso. The central figure here is based on an iconic photograph of Picasso taken in his Paris studio at the end of the Second World War in 1945. Picasso had last visited Spain in 1934 and actually never went back. The title of the work is then an explicit reference to an imagined trip that Picasso took. A trip where he returned to Spain having completed Guernica, one of his most celebrated works. His eyes are bloodshot. There are deep red pockets directly under his eyes. The great artist feels like a Frankenstein figure pulled out of Ghenie's subconscious, forced to confront the horrors that he depicted so famously. And in this work we see a synthesis of many of his great influences, not least the subject, Pablo Picasso, but also if you look in the upper register, for instance, we have these passages that recall Gerhard Richter's abstract painting. Looking further down, we see debts to Francis Bacon in these chops of white and of colour in the face. Along the bottom, a grounding device which would have been familiar to the post-impressionists such as Cézanne. These slabs of pavement generate a perspectival shift, where the rest of the ground appears tilted upward. The painting is this sort of explosion of colour and texture, and Ghenie is so technically talented and so technically proficient. It feels as though Ghenie has pulled apart the image and then smashed it back together. This is a fractured image that's been moved into a consolidated whole. A portion of Ghenie's practice is based on this idea of historical what-ifs, historical reimaginings and reinterpretations of what could have happened. I think in many ways Ghenie's practice is allied to painters in the wake of the Second World War in Germany. Thinking of Gerhard Richter or George Baselitz, Sigmar Polke, Anselm Kiefer. These are all artists who sought to grapple with the legacy of the Second World War in terms of a collective cultural psyche. And Ghenie, who was born in 1977 in Romania, was brought up in a country in thrall to the communist dictatorship of Nicolae Ceausescu. Ghenie is all too aware of the power of ideologies, of the power of dictatorships, and reflects the presence of these ideas in contemporary society as well. This work is a statement about the power of art to constitute resistance, and I think that in this contemporary moment, it is pivotal that we remember what's come before. And Ghenie draws attention to these precedents that we saw throughout the 20th century, which are so easily made to feel so far away, and yet feel very resonant today.